Did you know that people are complete fucking idiots? Did you know that? I mean, I'm sure you did know that people are completely useless and stupid, but did you know people are complete and utter idiots?
Fair statement. Very
I
fair
mean,
statement.
I mean, damn. This is, see, you're not the one that deals with all the socials for this thing. So the stupid that I see people actually typing, like it's just one of your head.
Hey,
You're reading it, going. Do you actually like? That's why I like Kevin Sorbo on Twitter. Every time someone says something stupid, somehow there's Kevin Sorbo. I don't know how he catches all the stupid, but shout out to Kevin Sorbo because there he is. Going, have you ever actually read the thing?
it's a common problem with everyone, everywhere.
Like, have you?
You
Have
actually
you?
listen to what I said or read what I wrote, you would know that that's not what was said or how it came off. Good job. You fucked it up. Thanks.
The Constitution, or like, you think, what? Like, where does it say that in there? Why? Not really.
Bernie Mac used to say that. America. I liked him.
We actually just were at Second and Charles yesterday, and yeah, whole wall of Bernie Mac. I went, that guy, that guy, taken too soon. Funny guy. He was hilarious. I still like Carlin better, but I thought George Carlin was just more angry and blunt. Kind of like Dennis Leary's song "Asshole."
I think they were.
It's all true.
If you look at it, both of them were equally some of the greatest comedians there was, because Bernie Mac took one angle of it in kind of a positive way. George Carlin kind of went on the more pessimistic way, like. But they both literally made true, honest points, and it was realistically a slap to our administrations in our country. I mean,
so was Dennis Leary. Dennis Leary, man, the song. If you've never listened to Dennis
yeah,
Leary's song "Asshole," listen to what
as far
that
as
song.
A mainstream pessimistic person,
oh, Dennis, look at
you
Dennis
can't.
Leary.
He's been cancel cultured, this, that, and then he comes back, and then it's like, so he's in a different category. He's like in the Kid Rock category. He doesn't really care.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, his song "Asshole" pretty much summed everything up.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't take away from the fact that he is definitely the negative side of the spectrum.
But take all the fun out of this conversation. People are really stupid. People are really, 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 really stupid. Like, egregiously. Like, you're sitting there reading it going, oh, you can't be. Nope, it just keeps getting worse. Oh, look, it's a two-parter. Oh, look, it's a three-parter. What? But nope, if any of that actually was true about any of those documents that you're speaking of, like, as I've read the Constitution and Bill of Rights and amendments, and oh wait, here's the big one. I've read the Supreme Court's decision on it, at least the leaked one. I haven't gotten through the 230 pager that they put out. Thanks, guys, for that, by the way. 230. I'll be reading until I'm dead because I'm reading it on little bit of screen, which means my head is going to want to explode. No one knows how to read that.
I don't know why they always do that. That's just like bills that people try to pass. I feel like somebody needs to get into Senate and implement a policy where it's like this. Unless all the bills are 100% connected in some form or fashion, they don't go on the same bill together to vote.
Yeah, they'll never do that. I get the Supreme Court one, though. I mean, because there is 6 justices' opinions that all had to get me. So I get.
But I'm saying
they all have to throw their piece. Well, yeah, but they all had to throw their piece in there as to why.
No, I'll tell you why they do it. It's because of a modern progressive branch of our government is an idiot, and if you don't clarify it to the letter,
so they make sure that they
screw it up.
So they make sure that they do, and well, again, we'll get into it. Yeah, but I don't like that. That's 230 pages with a lot of damn near repeating a lot of the same things just from different cases, but they do break it down. So even the stupid people in the back, if they actually read it, can understand. And I look how long you and me talk. It's just two dudes' opinions, and sometimes we go for 2 hours. 2 hours. Think if some poor bastard had to sit there and type up everything that comes out of our mouth in that 2 hour span.
That's a sorry.
I bet you that would be a very, very multiple lengths of pages worth of just please stop talking, guys. Guarantee it.
There'd be points where that guy would probably be like, guy or gal, sorry. I want to be politically incorrect here.
Hey.
Some guy or gal would be sitting there reading that as they're typing it and going, oh, that was slightly aggressive, but true. Carrying on.
And
probably see some chuckles and a few of these. Damn looks.
I do say it was amazing that literally overnight, everyone on the left, to include all those people, went from not being able to define what a woman was. God damn, the second that decision came down, suddenly they remembered
what a woman was.
Suddenly they all knew what a woman was, just like that. So they went from crazy. Don't tell a woman what. Now we know what.
And now it's actually woman and not birthing people either. Like everybody's using the word woman.
Yeah, well, if they use the word birthing people,
Intriguing.
It's amazing. It really is. And we're gonna hit some border stuff, and then again, he doesn't know what the thing at the end is, but he does know what the thing at the end is. It's one of those. Walter doesn't need to prepare because me and Walter talk about the subject a lot, and we've even mentioned it on here. And it kind of wraps everything else up to cover the blatant and just egregious level of just pure ignorance and stupid running wild. See, we already talked about an integrity problem. We also have an intellect problem in this bitch. Up in here. Just because suddenly a song came on yesterday and DMX started barking, and I was like, didn't even know he was on the song, and then it's not. Let DMX into this thing.
I don't even want to put it out there as an intelligence problem. I put it out there like this.
We have a narcissist problem.
Yeah.
And an education problem.
Don't get me wrong.
Our schooling system has failed people.
Exactly. What I was going to say is, if you look at it in an educational mindset, that it's junk, because you think about the indoctrinations that happen in regards to not even necessarily like the whole race thing. Although I agree that the more you talk about racism problems, the more it's
Morgan Freeman.
relevant. But Morgan Freeman doesn't know what he's talking about.
He would never know. He didn't live through any of that. Yeah,
the guy didn't do a movie called Shawshank Redemption. No, not at all.
But
anyways.
Yeah, so, I'm just gonna. I'll let you keep going, but literally look at our world rankings pre Department of Education, where the government started, and then
back when moms were heavily involved with education.
Look where we were world ranks until all of that. Like we're still going in the wrong direction. Hey, I think them making it so people can go to charter schools and all that, and the money's going to follow them to that school, so they can actually go get real education out of the just pits of a lot of public schooling systems. I think we'll see an intellect.
Tell you what, I'm gonna repeat something Jeff Daniels said. I'm not gonna quote him because I'm gonna shorten it up for like simplistic timeline reasons instead of 7 minutes. He said in a statement on a show once that he was heavily involved with producing and writing and all that good stuff.
Opening scene of The Newsroom. Look it up.
Yes. Best scene, any TV show I've ever seen, hands down, it's the best scene. He flat out calls it what it is.
So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Exactly. We are a country that used to be the greatest there is. There's a reason why the American dream is the reason why it's so great. We used to be the greatest country in the world. We're not no more. He's rattling off the numbers.
And this was forever ago. Forever ago. And guess what? Those numbers have gotten worse, which is even more terrifying. I was going to say,
that's where I was going to go with it. He was rattling those statistics off, and like the numbers and rankings, like math, education type stuff. Mathematics, we suck anymore. I mean, they're not teaching kids in school right now actively. They do not teach true long form mathematics because My niece does not know how to say how. I'm back up. She knows how to do modern, progressive, common, whatever that
Common Core
is. That one.
Common Core that makes.
I do not agree with that. I feel like that is a true form of socialism. If you actually read the books, whether it be math, what do they call it now? It's not English anymore. It's language arts. Whatever, man. What happened to American history? I remember when I was in high school, they used to have something called Michigan history in school. I asked a kid a couple months back about that, if they still did that class, because I wanted to obtain one of the books for me to use, because we homeschool the boys. I wanted one for my use here at home. I mean, you can use that throughout the whole entire time they're growing up. You can, at the beginning, you can just use it as like a timeline and get the info you need to do like a child version of it. And then as they grow, you can progressively, heavily educate them in it, But they don't do that no more. Like Michigan history does not happen anymore. And it's pathetic. What? So by doing that, this is what happens. You want to talk about racism? Let's talk about it. Because that one example right there, if you look at it and you took away Michigan history, you know what you're doing now? You're taking all these students and you're not educating them about the minority all-American Indian tribes in our state. There's like 5 different tribes. And maybe the only one that people would know of would be the Chippewa tribe, because I'm pretty sure it's Chippewa tribe. They're involved with it. What's the name of that casino I told you about before? Soaring Eagle Casino of Mount Pleasant, which is the county you and I've talked about a couple times up there. Anyways, you can't teach these things in school, remove these things from school, and then expect our country not to be racist. Because if you're taking away the education, true education of your locality, and then you just slightly tweak the nationality version of it, you've completely misguided people. And you're going to have a generation or 2 or 3 of children who are completely ignorant and stupid about shit. Hey. And where's the return from that? Homeschooling and private schooling.
They're getting their return. Everyone's done. They're getting exactly what they want. That's their return. They don't give a goddamn.
They're getting what they want to a degree.
They want everyone dependent on them. They want everyone to keep believing. Well, guess what? I learned about slavery and all the horrors and stuff when I was in school in my tiny little area there, Crestwood in Mountaintop, Pennsylvania. I learned about American history and all the good, the bad, and the straight up horrific things that we did to Indians and everyone else, black people.
What was the name?
Everything. We learned about it all.
The technical name, but Swaziland. What's the actual name for it? Oh man. Anyways, that country, Swaziland. I can't remember the actual technical name of it. When that country was formed, this current government they have, when they formed that one, they went from a true conservative background. Granted that system at that time was not the greatest. There was corrupt people, just like there was here years ago with labor unions and shit. There was corrupt people like that there. But when they did that, they transformed it to a more progressive, socialist, democratic type style, and they've went downhill to a degree. I mean, that environment does not work, and you can take it from a small scale like that little country and take it to bigger scales. Russia may be winning right now, but long term, they're not going to win. And what's going to end up happening is we will go to World War III, and that's going to suck. A lot of people die because of pure ignorance. And I will agree with what I can't say that I've heard them say it outright, but out of watching the actions of Boris Johnson and Macron, taking a degree of their ignorance and their stupidity away from it, they do have the right position on the whole Putin thing. Just show full aggression and get it the hell over with. And Poland's in that line too. Those guys are truly understanding that if we don't show the force now, we're done later. Because they're depleting certain portions of their military capabilities to help Ukraine, but we are being shitwads and dragging our feet, not we as the American people, but the American government. And what's going to come of it? There's going to be some new countries speaking Russian at some point. I'm not going to say everybody involved will be, but there's going to be new countries involved in speaking Russian. And that's sad. That shouldn't have happened because of some stupid ass government group that thinks they know what they're doing.
All I'm going to say is you just drug that off the rails. it's coming. We all know it's coming. I do like listening to all these historians from other countries going, well, now that then America got involved in the war, and well, like remember what we weren't involved at all until they attacked us.
Exactly. Oh,
did they think was going to happen?
And I'm glad you said that.
You think I love listening to them all. They're doing all this until America got involved and turned the tide of the war. We weren't gonna if they didn't do that, but we were sitting still going, well. And then they attacked us, and guess what? We blew them all back to what it.
And something else, we haven't talked about this, but I wanted to bring
Hitler going after Russia killed them. Because they weren't capable to do it at that time, just like Japan was doing what they were, everything they were doing was working well until they attacked.
Well, that's another thing I wanted to bring up. You know, I know we've talked about this over a decade ago because we talked about it when we were on active duty, but going back to something I've made a point of before, our cold weather training now is not what it used to be. And I bring that up because about 2 months ago, when I was doing some of my map searching, I found in Russia on an island on the north side in the Arctic Circle, a new base, an air base. And they have the ability to launch nuclear missiles from there. I hate to break it to people, but when they're in those islands in the Arctic Circle, they are by far closer than anyone else that has nuclear capabilities. Our Arctic force, we've done one training mission in like the last 25 years, I feel like. There might have been one more just after Bill Clinton got out, but I don't feel like there was one since then until just recently. And with that being said, we're not ready for it. The only one that might half-ass be ready for it is Israel, just because they don't care and they want to not die. But outside of that, you know, I mean, you got countries involved that are not prepared. I mean, granted, if they were to send anyone that's in active duty military that's from the north, there's a good chance they would do better and perform better. But that's only because they're accustomed to moderate winter. So there's a degree of education needs to go in this because we've lost our common sense. And I really feel like they need to beat that back in school, even if it's down to the home ec level, because I feel like if you have that common sense education, you can learn from it. And I want to give a shout out. If he's still alive, I don't know. Maybe I should probably research this. Mr. Darling, you were the greatest teacher I've ever had in my life. Hands down.
You can shout out dead people. It's okay. You could shout out to dead people. Maybe their family's listening if they are.
Well, the whole point I'm saying that is because the whole reason I say that is because whether he is or is not alive, that man, in the way he pushed me in my law classes, my government classes, he educated me in a way that I don't feel like I would have got without him and my grandfather in my life. And then, you know what I'm saying? That was a smart man.
Yeah,
and the funny thing is the shit that he taught me allowed me 20 some years ago to go, there's this group of people involved with our government that are communists. Oh, and then that went downhill fast with my parents. And here it is 20 some later. And it's like, I was right 100% because now that group's in charge 100%.
Hey, they hate us because we're.
But what do I know?
We don't know anything, but.
It's funny though, like I told you, I think my mom is now a closet Republican.
Oh, maybe it's safer that way because you're dead.
Huh?
It's safer that way with your dad, no?
Yeah, there's no saving my dad.
Yeah, it's better just stay closeted with that.
And he even complained about a problem just recently to my mom that is something that wouldn't have happened if people like him wouldn't have supported this and this and this.
Hey. It's a mental disease. Modern day liberalism.
Well, this is another
mental disease.
Well, there's also another degree of it that I don't understand, and that is my dad loves to live the. Let me back up.
Hurry up.
If anyone was to ask my dad when was the best years for him financially in the last 2 decades, he would tell you that it was the 5 years after I got out of the Marine Corps working with me. And look at it now. He's struggling, but he wants to live that conservative lifestyle, and he has. He bought a motorcycle. He's still cutting wood, but he's not making as much money because he's spending it. Chains ain't as cheap as they used to be. We used to be able to get our bigger chains for $25. Now they're $40, $50. That's bullcrap. These guys in Michigan need chains. We cut a lot of trees here. A lot of trees that grow fast here. Eastern white pine can be 30 foot tall in 10 years, 12 years. Anyway, sorry, carrying on.
I was making sure.
Yep, you're good.
And I had like 4 little things wrote down that turned into literally 20 minutes and 20 seconds.
Oh, the airbase ski. That's not a joke. That's
No shit,
that
Sherlock.
I've heard it once on the news. Once on any channel, including Fox. I've heard it once on the news.
No shit.
Nobody's even talking about it. And if you've seen the pictures of this place,
Again, no shit. No one's gonna care until something bad happens, and then when something bad happens, they're still gonna blame Orange Man bad, even though he's
coming.
Even though he's nowhere near any of this.
I'm sorry, but it's gonna be bad enough. That whole blaming it on him isn't gonna make a difference at that point. It ain't gonna matter. There's gonna be so many people that's gonna die from this stupidity.
Oh, I know, but there's still stupid people at this point blaming it Orange Man bad and Putin.
No, I'm just saying they'll learn though on this situation when that base becomes functional for combat.
No.
If came out.
No. I'll even get angry. You're not. If they are still fully on him right now, saying we're all crazy because we think something's off in his head.
That's what I'm saying.
We do anything, but
blame him at that point.
Not going to change at this point. If they are still up his ass this much, no matter what happens, is going. You say people will wake up then. No one. The whole entire country. No, they won't.
Will be clearly understood.
No, they'll still blame the Orange Man. Doesn't matter how bad it gets, but everything right now is still his fault, even though he's been gone for well over a year. Somehow, border stuff, everything is still his fault. Nothing, and I repeat, nothing is going to wake these sycophantic fucktards up out of whatever is going on inside of nothing. Like it'll be you and me's fault. It'll be our fault somehow.
No,
it won't have anything to do with the people, I don't know, running our country or our intelligence and our military. And do we want
to talk about it? Do we want to guess the timeline? Let's guess the time. How long do you think it'll be before that base is active? There you guess. What do we think? What are we guessing?
I'd say after the winter.
About 6 months. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, after their winters.
That's what I'm saying. I was thinking 6 to 8 months, you'll see that thing active, and I bet you by the 9th month they'll be threatening with it. As I say, by March next year, we're going to have a seriously nuclear problem on our hands.
I was going to say, so April, May, well, depending on when the ice pack, because I don't care who you are.
Well, the one they built
when it's that iced over and cold, you're not building anything. Things stop working.
Oh, it's built.
Those temperatures.
It's built. They're just getting their organizational part.
Getting everything going. Like
they're in trouble, dude. That thing's gonna be online soon. That's what I'm saying. I feel like this is something you talk about now because in 6 to 8 months, everybody's gonna go, oh, I'm gonna be like, I said something about this a while back. Just saying. All right, I'm sorry.
No, as you killed all the time.
Oh, you're good. Carry on.
Time killer. Get through all of your primary results rapidly for the sake of everyone's heads.
Got it. So I'm just going to go down their list. They're not in order this week for some reason this time, but we'll just go down the list. Colorado, you got for Senate, you're going to have Michael Bennett and John O'Dea running against each other. John O'Dea being the Republican nominee. For governor, you got Democratic, you got Jared Polis. And then for Republican, they're going to have to go to a runoff for Ganal and Greg Lopez. Their Secretary of State, Republican, is Pam Anderson against I believe the incumbent.
Pam Anderson, huh?
Yeah.
Pam?
That's what I said, right?
Anderson.
Yeah, Pam Anderson.
Pam short.
I don't think we're talking about the same.
Well, it's not the same one, but
I'm sorry.
It's a hell of a coincidence.
It's
kind of like Senator John Kennedy. Wow.
Yeah,
He's not related at all, which is the creepy part.
U.S. House District 3, Lauren Boebert again.
Lauren Boebert. Let's go get it right.
I'm struggling. My nose is still.
I'm gonna punch you in it. You will wake up
I got carry on. We're getting off topic again. District 5 is Doug Lamborn. District 7, Eric Adland. District 8 is Barbara Kirkmeyer. In District 1, Republican Jennifer Cochiri, and Democratic is Diana DeGette.
DeGay. Sorry, I had to. Great movie.
Yeah.
You DeGay. I am not.
Yep,
DeGay.
I know exactly what you're referring to. Moving on to Illinois. Tammy Duckworth is going to go up again.
Oh, really?
Kathy Salvi.
Like she accomplishes.
I know. I'm just
almost nothing. Oh, I know you're reading.
Almost
live reactions to them. I mean, they're still AOC, so I can't say she's the most worthless person there. But who even the people that do the reviews in the Senate and all that, like, do they do everything? Go through her, and she's still on the bottom as the least useful person in the building every year.
When it comes to Senator Susan Collins.
No, this is just off of surely bills they do, things they introduce, all that. AOC is always the most useless person in the building. She's pretty. Yeah.
So the future hope for Illinois. That's what I want to move on to next.
The future hope.
Yes.
It's that bad.
Illinois governor race. You're going to have obviously J.B. Pritzker for the Democratic nominee. He's going to go up against Darren Bailey. Trump backed him. Sorry, I'm not saying everybody he's backing just because that's more work to add on this time.
That is a hell of a list if you did all of that.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Moving into the House race, they got District 1, District 3, District 6, District 7, District 13, 15, and 17. I don't see any of them to point out as far as like the ones that have won the candidacy for the Democrats, or none of them are really anything substantial. I will say though, 7 and 13th district is probably gonna go to a runoff. I'm about over this. That's something I want to say real quick on a side note.
I hate runoffs.
I feel like there's no reason why by 11 midnight election day, every time we can't have the results set. I'm about sick and tired of this. We used to do it when we were doing paper and we were somehow able to do it faster then. Unacceptable. Just throwing it out there.
Hey, I'm right there with you. Like, it used to take 14 seconds and now it takes 14 and a half years to get the results.
Yeah.
We weren't letting people, accept ballots 9 years after the election at that point too, which,
I did want to bring up for District 15 and 17, there is a Republican running that's going to try to contend, which those are the Chicago and then Southwest. So
good luck to them. I don't think they have a chance.
I know, but these are two
good luck to
areas. But this is Esther King is running for 17th district, and then Mary Miller is running for 15th district.
Hey, just to have the balls to do it. I mean, because
kudos.
They are deep blue. Just let's keep voting for the same people and watch everything keep getting worse. And wonder why nothing changes. Well, when you keep the same idiots in charge.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's not even anything on the Democratic side of it for Illinois. There's no one. I mean, the only one I would talk about is obviously the governor race, because that's a little more of an impactful position than some of these people. But outside of that, there's no real Democratic nominees that you're like, hey, I just thought we should mention this person's right. Between that and then not being allowed the results the night of the election is something that's just not right. Anyways, moving on to Mississippi.
We used to every night.
I know. On paper, a much more time-consuming way at that, and we still were able to do it. It's unacceptable.
I'm
just saying we need to get rid of things like Eric, and I'm going to leave it at that. Because those outfits, that's the problem. If you know what I'm talking about, you get it then. If not, well, I'm sorry for them.
Let's comment on something, and we can get Walter in contact with you.
Yes.
He can break it down.
Most definitely.
In way more fun than I ever could.
Mississippi, they do have, let's see, what was it? U.S. House races are going. District 2, we have wow. Brian Flowers. He's running for District 2 in a Republican nomination. District 3 will be Michael Guest, and District 4 will be Mike Ezel. Just want to cover that. Moving to New York. All right, here we go. We have governor, lieutenant governor, U.S. Senate, and that's the big ones we're going to cover. We're not going to go into state legislators. So for governor race, we have obviously Kathy Ding Dong, and then we have Lee Zeldin. That's the guy I was talking about earlier.
There you go. I can see his face.
Yep. So that's going to be a good race, and I honestly think if there's ever been a really heavy chance of a Republican governor, right now it's a chance in New York, because even independents are like, okay, this is not going to work for our lifestyle. Sorry.
And dear independents.
Yeah.
We told you so.
And we and also, dear independents, we understand. This is why we told you so. Just saying.
We had a foreboding. And no one
and until they have that fair chance with a Republican governor, I don't foresee stupid people like what's his nuts in New York there, the city. DA.
The DA?
B, it starts with a B. Bragg. DA Bragg, the district attorney for New York City. Until they get probably a Republican or independent governor in there, he's not going bye-bye.
None of them are going bye-bye.
So, but good luck to Lee Zeldin. I'm most definitely heavily rooting for you. Lieutenant governor, you have for the Democratic nominee, Antonio Delgado. On the Republican nominee side for the lieutenant governor, you're going to have Allison Esposito. She's a former NYP deputy or NYP deputy inspector. I don't know how I feel about her, truthfully. Either one of them. I'm just gonna put that out there.
You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, I'm done with New York. Moving on. Okie from Stokey. Oh, sorry. Oklahoma.
Hey, it's a good song.
Oklahoma, we got governor, U.S. Senate, and U.S. House races. Oklahoma, so we'll start with the U.S. Senate. We have James Lankford took the Republican nominee. You're going to have a runoff race coming from the Democratic side for U.S. Senate between Madison Horn and Jason Bollinger. You also have for U.S. Senate they're going to have a special Republican primary in a certain county because I guess two of the people that were tied there, or not tied, sorry, they didn't get the majority. There's going to be T.W. Shannon and Mark Wayne Mullen.
Oh, like a serial killer.
Yeah, it sounds like it, don't it?
3 names.
That's what I thought. Anyways, I don't know. That's my personal belief. Carrying on.
Gotta watch out for those people with 3 names. I'm telling you what.
Governor. Cool. This is the rate, one of the races I'm gonna watch. I know it sounds stupid, but I am gonna watch it because there's legislations that I pay attention to in Oklahoma. Moving on. The Republican nominee is gonna be Kevin Stitt. Democratic nominee is gonna be Joy Hoffmeister.
That's a fucking last name.
House for District 2. Republican nominee is going to be Avery Fricks. Moving to South Carolina. Just 1 second. I got a drink. Dry it out here. Next state, South Carolina. All right. For U.S. Senate, we're going to have Krista Matthews. She's taking the Democratic nomination. Oh, just change colors. Interesting. And that would be the only federal side of the midterm election for South Carolina. Nothing else up for grabs this year. Moving to last but not least, Utah. we got U.S. Senate and U.S. House seats up for grabs. So for U.S. Senate Republican, we have Mike Lee, another guy at Trump. Yeah, he's going up against Evan McMullen. That's who it was. And then in the U.S. House, we got District 1. Blake Moore took the Republican nomination. And that is the end of the election results right now. And like we said, there's 3 of them that'll go to a runoff, which I don't agree with, but
I hate runoffs.
I think they should be allowed.
I think they're dumb, but
I think they're corrupt. I don't even think they're dumb. I just think they're corrupt, in my personal opinion.
Everything that has to do with our election system has been corrupted.
Thanks, Eric.
I mean, you still had people that were 120 years old, and you're talking about with that beautiful group that you're in. 120-year-old, eh? That's a problem. But anyway, now that
that'll be addressed. Don't worry.
Now that he's done,
without
American Legion, there you go.
Just talking about that.
Talking
about that. That's why without people like you or me stepping into things, it's just not going to change. Without people like us stepping up and saying something. That's why you see so many Navy SEALs right now running for Congress and Senate races.
I just think it's mesmerizing. Before we move on to the topics at hand, the powers that be, I think it's mesmerizing that for 4 years plus, the Democrats were barking about how we needed do more measures for election integrity and all that, because and then right after this, they don't want to look at anything. They're not doing nothing. They don't give a damn. It's amazing. And when it works in their favor, they don't care. They don't want to look at anything. But when they lose, suddenly their heads can explode.
Welcome to the modern day, other side party. Just leave it there.
Welcome to the Thunderdome. Or the Terror Dome. Whatever the hell you want to call it. Idiot Dome. But that gets us on to the important things after all that. Sorry. Took us 37 minutes just to get here. First topic. We're on a roll. Okay.
Actually, the election didn't go as long as I thought. Anyways, carry on.
Supreme Court decisions came down, and there's lesser ones before we get to the obvious glaring one that, the whole world is like losing their mind about. Funny story, I'll tell you when we get to that. But the one with how they struck down the over 100-year-old New York law, the Supreme Court did, so it's easier for them to bear arms and defend themselves in the state of New York. That seemed to piss a lot of people off, and I find it really mesmerizing that all these posts about it was, let me put some air quotes, officials and law enforcement people, saying that it'll make their jobs 1,000 times harder if it's easier for citizens to bear. Like, you guys do realize they're not the ones out there shooting people, right? I'm just throwing it out there. It's going to make your job harder because people that aren't out there shooting people can now have guns, but they're still not going to go out there.
We had this conversation the other day. I don't very often promote Michigan anything.
There's a good idea. Do something about the crime problem. You won't have to worry about people shooting. Defending themselves and all this getting worse.
I mean, there's still heavy drug. I mean, by far our biggest problem in this state is the fact that everybody keeps threatening that fossil fuels and drugs. But with that being said, how do I want to say? I don't want to say this without being wrong. We've talked about these things in regards to that, and I don't think it's. Go on. I gotta think how I want to word this. Carry on. Sorry, just carry on. I'm thinking about how I want to word that.
Well, I mean, don't overthink it. That's your problem. You overthink it. I just think that it being easier for law-abiding citizens to bear arms and defend themselves, how the hell is that going to make it harder for law enforcement? I mean, they're not the ones out there shooting people with guns they shouldn't have anyway. So in broad daylight. So how is it going to make it worse? Again, this was coming from like Yahoo News as I was scrolling through, just MSN, like all like the idiot news, like all of them, just same headline through them all. Like, how is it going to make it harder though? like you guys' policy is letting people out without cash bail and all that in a lot of situations, right? But that's what's making your job harder. This
Yeah,
ain't gonna,
what the and I'm not going into the
this
border
isn't
stuff,
gonna
but
do
what
anything.
those two guys get off, or not the two guys, the third dude, he got caught with like,
That's on my list.
it was like 81 pounds of pills on his person. 81 pounds of pills.
We'll get super down.
He got out for $500 bail. I'm like,
Yeah,
how?
Don't worry, we're
I
getting
hit someone in self-defense and went to jail for 4 days. That dude, really?
No, we're getting to it. I had to spend more than that to bail myself out because
I don't want to go into the money side.
Because I got ran over and a legit pre-workout packet exploded in my pocket. You could see it was that field tested, and I got had to pay a fifth of that, and it was literally a little bitty pre-workout sample packet as compared to 81 pounds of that, and that's why the problem is there. But again, we're not talking about that yet. That's one of the big decisions.
I think I know how I want to word that. I got the statement. Okay, real quick. So I'm going to describe real quick an overview of the state laws here when it comes to guns. You can buy a shotgun at 18 to 21. They do a background check no matter what. You can only transfer between family or individual shotgun rifle transfers, but there has to be a degree of confidence in it. So there's some personal accountability to that.
Sounds oddly familiar.
Yeah. And then anything that would be considered an assault rifle or a
HRA. Anyways, carry on.
Well, that's so just real quick into that. I feel like if people could look at those laws. Oh, sorry, just to finish that last one. The assault rifle. I say anything that would be considered a combat body style rifle. That's how I look. I wouldn't call it an AR body because that doesn't really add up. But anyways, that's not a conversation for another day. In this state, those in pistols, you have to be 21. You have to be licensed to purchase those. You can open carry for hunting purposes, but outside of that, those you really do have to have a permit to get them. With that being said, if they could just mimic that and tweak certain underlying details of each one that there is a couple conflicts with in the state, if they could just tweak those things, that would be a good system that could implement across the country. Now, it's still going to piss certain people off because there's just certain people that think, oh, we're fanatics. You just, everybody in the world should carry 6 guns. Okay, those people, yes, I understand. That's a little extreme and they're going to be pissed off at that situation. But outside of that average common sense thinking person, they're going to be like, that's pretty fair. No one's saying you can't own a gun. It's just there's got to be a level of intelligence that is hoped to have come with that age. And it's to better the area. Yeah, I know sometimes it sucks for certain people, but they can got to grow up a little bit about it and think it through and just look at the numbers. I mean, they're not the greatest numbers in the world, but they're better than what they could be if the laws didn't give us those guns. Just putting it out there. Sorry, I'm done now.
Alrighty then. See, it even let me lean back without creaking this time. The chair, good chair. It's not going to do that the rest of the day. But Washington State, from the state, not the city, fired football coach. He lost his job because he was kneeling on the 50-yard line praying after the game was over. It's cool. They voted in his favor. That was in his First Amendment right to do so. So that was a good, everyone's still heads are exploding about that somehow. Like it was after the game. If people want to get there and pray with them, let them. What if you object to it? It's after the game. Leave. Don't throw a shit fit. Don't complain. It's this really easy thing. Turn around, walk your happy ass up the stairs, and leave.
I just want to say something.
Don't throw a hissy fit, which causes someone their job over something so small, and you really just prove how petty and worthless you are. They're not asking you to do it, but you're getting them fired and stuff for doing it because you threw a hissy fit. Like
It's not
this
just
is acting up.
there's a degree of hypocrisy there, because these same people now they're saying, like, I don't want to say it. You got it twisted. People have it twisted, is all I'm gonna say. They think about it this way, but the reality of it is it goes this way, and they got it wrong. Period. They got it twisted.
They're idiots. It's not that hard. What? They're not doing it. What? They're not asking you to do it.
When they took it out of schools, they were okay with it the way it was written then, and now all of a sudden, those same people were okay with it when they won their way. Now all of a sudden, they're just against what they won and they wanted 20 years ago when they took it out of schools. Like, what? This is what you want, and now you're complaining against it now. Like,
you can't make anyone happy. Just like look at the hippie generation that was all fight the power is now all of a sudden right there screaming and with the government. A lot of them, are right there. The old hippies that were fighting against the machine are now right there with the machine. The rebels like Howard Stern that were all buck the system are now part of the system.
Exactly. But I had met one person from that generation that has said the problem with people between 30 and 52 right now is us baby boomers. We wanted to make their life better than what we had, and we kind of spoiled them, and now it's our fault. I have met one person from that age group that has admitted that. So kudos to that person.
They're all idiots. Every last one of them. They're just spoiled and entitled.
I just was shocked that he admitted it.
Oh my God gave me a skull so hard. People like that.
Exactly.
I might get a red mark. You'll be unconscious.
So kind of like that.
You'll be very, very unconscious. But it moves us on to those weren't the only two. They've come down with a lot, and historically before their break, they tend to come down with a lot of them, and they're shooting through it,
They didn't release the one yet for the border, did they?
I didn't see it. And then obviously again, Roe v. Wade and the heads exploding. AOC says she wants to impeach, Justice Gorsuch Kavanaugh, whatever the hell. I've heard everyone say it. I'm going to go with Kavanaugh. That's the way he says it. And Amy Coney Barrett for lying under oath, even though when they were asked questions like that, they straight said, I can't answer on the specifics of how I would rule on a case.
Yeah, because it's a case by case.
That should have nothing to do with like if they can't do that, because then what they're going to do, which so they didn't. They all answered it.
But then it's a premeditated decision.
They answered it like everyone always has, all the way down to the Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But I cannot answer on how I'm going to rule on future cases that come in.
Because then there's no precedent anymore.
I just love it. AOC wanting to get people for lying under oath. Have you ever heard?
If you wanted to be honest, you can't take precedent.
Hey, AOC, I swear you're still throwing a fit that you had PTSD because people broke into your office building on the 6th.
When nobody broke in there.
Even though no one was even near your building. You're just actually physically stupid. You got PTSD from a guard knocking on your door and trying to get you, out of the building that wasn't under attack. But hey, let's go after them. Why not? And I have the 100 million page decision. It's actually like 230 on my phone. So anyone listening, get a hold of me through any of it, any platform, comment on this on, Good Pods, Facebook, YouTube, the Rumble video, anywhere, find me. And I can send you that big old decision so you can read it for yourself and make up your own mind. Like intelligent people.
If you want to
read the damn thing.
I am on YouTube and Good Pods. Soon to be LinkedIn.
If you want to get through anything else, just find me. I'll get you to them somehow. We'll figure this out. We can have a 3-way, just bashing our heads against.
We can zoom it up.
Bash our heads against the wall. But the real scary part before we move on, like to the border, because I did read again. I read the leak decision just from one. Months ago, I read most of that. I think I got through like 65 pages, and I was like, this is just repeating like this line, and then they give us 4 cases to back it. Like it was just okay, stop. And I know that what the 230 pages is going to be, but at least it's the whole decision. It's not let me put some air quotes around leaked
summary.
It's amazing how leaks happen, and it's amazing how they still haven't figured that one out. The bigger fish to fry, like making daylight savings time, an all-time thing. Setting it in stone for forever. That was important, but figuring out who's leaking things from the Supreme Court, not a problem there. No one cares. But I got this show on Twitter. I mean, I got the racing and the wrestling one too. Nothing on the racing one. Nothing on this one, which is just mind blowing. I didn't see anything. But holy bejesus, everyone on the wrestling ski side of it, holy, like I was going there. It's the other way. I'm not going to see anything to piss me off. And it was just scroll up, just post after post about Roe v. Wade and all the idiots coming out of people's mouths, like, and just the pure, just ignorance to what it actually says. And guess what, everyone? I actually have a solution to all of you people that are concerned and have problems with it. Even though they didn't ban anything, they sent it back to the states where it should have been, because it never should have went to the Supreme Court. And if you actually read their decision, it goes over when they first ruled it anyway, and why it shouldn't have happened. And if you read some of the reasonings behind why they made it a thing, you'd go, does that have to do with anything? Really, what does that have to, like, I get it, but yeah, that has nothing to do with what they're putting, like, and
what I find funny,
and by the way, old white men should not tell a woman what to do with their body. I'm pretty sure they were all pretty much old white men in robes that said that passed Roe v. Wade.
Exactly.
And now we got females and people of color, like, in all of that making decisions. So
I find it funny that all these
and they didn't
pro-life shit.
And the Supreme Court didn't ban anything. The Supreme Court did not ban anything. They sent it back to the states where it should have been. So there's solutions to all these things that none of you seem to understand. But carry on.
I just find it funny because all these people did all this rioting and vandalism and destruction in Michigan, right? And then that decision came out, and look at our trigger laws that we originally had in place instantly were put on hold because the majority of people in Michigan don't agree that 100% ban should be there. We understand it. There's people like Taylor and I, what we went through last August. There's scenarios you have to have input.
And I don't think, like,
common sense.
And I don't think any state's going to outright ban it just because of, the issues that
if Texas ain't outright ban it. They didn't put a ban on the medical side.
Yeah.
Greg Abbott even said that.
I'm saying, like, if you listen to most and read it all again, a lot of it isn't available now because, a lot of it hasn't gone through the proper channels to fully make it through. But when they do go through, guess what? Me or him, one of us will find them. And then you can get your hands on them, because that's pretty much a basic, like, 3 or 4 days out of the week. It's like, hey, do you have these? I have these. What? The bills. And then he sends government, or he sends me a dollar bill emoji. I'm like, well, I certainly didn't send you any money. So that's a damn fact right now. But we will have them. And
it's a fair question, though. If somebody just says, hey, I got those bills.
Hey, you should know it's me. I sure as hell ain't sending you any money.
Or
why the hell would I want to talk to you? Did you get those bills? Like, I don't like looking at my bills. I don't want to look at your bills. But
neither one of us want to look at my
bills. We will find them. But like, I think everyone agrees that, like, like, no state's gonna ban, like, if the mother's gonna die, or if like, no one's gonna ban that.
There's medical things that can be done, that
a loss of life, and there's a million forms of contraception that you could use. And
hold on, I gotta say this has to be said. I understand people that are still against it morally, because I can relate to that feeling. I understand that people who are involved that have to go through things like ectopic pregnancies, where you have the medical portion of it, you have to abort a baby. Those things, I understand where people hate themselves for doing it, because, it's hard when you have to go against your morals of killing a baby or a child. That's a hard decision to have to make. And unless you've been in that scenario, whether it be through a combat way or through medical things like that, killing a kid is a whole other scenario than just bad shit happening. And it is hard to live with mentally. So just don't think that it's an easy thing to deal with. I don't know. I feel like that has to be said for those people that think, oh, they're just going to outright ban it. No, the people have compassion. Don't think they don't. They understand.
No, the other, no one's going to fully do it, just because you people actually have to just shut the fuck up. Don't listen to all the idiots that are just spewing nonsense, because that's all they get to do. read the decision again. I have it. It's a lot of words, but a lot. Yeah, I'll send you the file, and then you and whoever's in your house can read a certain chunk of them. Like, I already asked Hannah. It's like, hey, do you want to read 115 pages of the decision for me? Out from the Roe v. Wade? Why 115? Because it's about double that, and I don't feel like reading it all. I'll even get you a highlighter. You can go, important. Oh, well, never mind. I've seen her note taking skills. But it's like, it's not fully done. Don't listen to the celebrities and the talking heads. Like, I've seen, like, listen to a few governors. They're banning a lot of things for just because you're a terrible, shitty person. You just go and have unprotected sex and just don't care. And by the way, Planned Parenthood, why are you so unhappy and talking about closing down all these locations? Because of this. If only 3% of what you did was abortions, why are you guys so unhinged? If only 3% of what you did were that, then this shouldn't affect you to the point that your head is exploding.
And this
that number is highly violently skewed. But guess what? Everywhere has health departments, and there's birth control and contraception. And just here's a good one: having smart sex, being responsible.
Well, I just want to.
Everyone say condoms aren't 100% effective. Well, true, but like, use your brain a little bit. Just because you're a terrible human being and you make poor life choices.
Well, the people who are for abortion, let me just put it out there like this: the people that are for abortion, you know, they say it's abortions are good for the workplace, good for the economy, blah blah blah, good for green energy. Well, let's talk about that for a second, because when you look country by country, we're one of the most advanced, richest countries in the world, but yet we have the worst population regeneration problem in the world.
I wonder why that is.
But that's not good, because for all those people who are in charge and you're saying they care about the world and they care about life and people, you're killing us. You don't see it. It's slow, just like the education system was. It took 110 years, but when it happened all at once.
The numbers.
They're doing the same thing with killing our people off.
The numbers don't lie.
Look at Hungary. Hungary's a great, I know that sounds wrong, but Hungary's a great example for that. They pay their people to have a baby. When you have a baby, they give you a $35,000 check just to help you offset the beginning cost of starting a life. Like, I mean, I know that sounds stupid, but it does cost money to start a life. I get it.
Costs a lot of money.
I mean, it's not something that you just, I wake up, I have the baby, and everything's covered. No, I can honestly firsthand say that.
Hey, I saw a lot of posts, and by the way, here's just a public service announcement brought to you by my grumpy ass. If you have a small business, let's say in autographs, and you wonder why you're having your viewership's down and people aren't paying you, maybe you should think that if you do it all on Facebook, maybe you should consider not throwing out crazy stuff and calling us all baby killing, racist, everything else. And what that's going to kill your small customer. If it's your tiny thing, that's really going to kill your customer base when you're telling half of them that they're racist, misogynistic, Klansmen.
That's
no kill everybody.
Hillary.
You know,
look at Hillary, what she said about Clarence Thomas.
I know. I'm saying
that. Get out of here, Hillary.
I'm saying,
you're the biggest corrupt one in there.
I know, like that's the, like that doesn't help. And I don't remember where we were going before I even went there after your, but
sorry.
Hey, I was on a roll. I just want, but it's, again, all I'm going to say is, oh yeah, all the posts that they're also sharing saying if it was about the babies, they'd have free this, and free that, and free this, and free that. Like, one, where the hell do you think they're getting the money to do that? Which would be raising, more debt and inflation, and all that. Because two, we're hemorrhaging money. If we stopped hemorrhaging billions of dollars to other countries and all kinds of stuff, guess what? We and the border, if they stop spending the billions of that on a day, guess what? We would be able to actually do those things. But right now we're worried about taking care of the whole rest of the world, which is why we can't do anything like that, like Hungary, because we literally do not have the money because you keep voting in idiots. And I mean that across the board for both sides of the aisle. Exactly. You keep voting in idiots that keep hemorrhaging cash, which is why we can't take care of our sick, our elderly, our homeless, people that had babies. We can't keep track of anything. And our population actually, we actually had a population problem, like we had one. And then COVID made it 1,000 times worse about people not having kids and reproducing and making more things. And yet we're still killing lots of people and babies and everything else. Why? Because they don't give a goddamn. If they did, we would stop pushing money out to the rest of the world, and we would actually take care of all these goddamn problems.
Yeah.
They cared about Black lives. Guess what? Black on black crime wouldn't be skyrocketing through the roof, and they would actually secure the damn cities where all this is happening, like Chicago, who has like 6 mass shootings a weekend that no one hears about, like the 5-month-old that got shot sitting in a fucking car.
So I've only heard 3 people across the board that has said about the hemorrhaging problem of money in the population regeneration. I've only heard 3 people involved with politics say it. And one of them is not an elected official. I've heard Greg Abbott say something about the population side of it. And I've also heard Ron DeSantis say something about the security at the border and the population part of it. And then the third, but the most important one in my eyes, is Mike Pompeo. Mike Pompeo says it best. We don't worry about our birth rate in this country. We don't worry about the fact that we treat our people like garbage, but we're worried about being the most population rich country in the world. We're worried about being the most advanced, the most money hungry and money holding country in the world. But yet, if we don't worry about regenerating our population, we're dying. We're killing ourselves. I've only heard those 3 talk about that.
Hey.
Just saying, there's a lot of pro-life senators and congressmen supposedly, but don't hear them repeating that.
There's a lot of people that allegedly read all these bills that are having their heads explode because they don't actually read the bills, and causing more people's heads to explode because they don't read the bills. And also another quick shout out to whoever the you were on whichever platform it was. I'm sure it was on the Twitterverse, who said that they could read an 80-page bill in an hour. So why the hell are they asking for more time? I don't know, because believe it or not, that's not the only bill that they're trying to get through now before a summer break. They're coming through hundreds of pages worth of stuff coming through, and going through 80 pages of stuff to make sure that it all follows the laws on the books. And the Constitution, line by line, takes more than an hour. Believe it or not, it's not just reading and going. They have to read, they have to check against the Constitution, but there's a lot of things that go into it besides just reading it, if they even can. Like Obamacare's 10,000 pages that they said, if you want to know what's in it, vote on it. Then we'll tell you what's in it. Why? Because there's too many pages. It would have taken years to get through it if they didn't care. But it takes more than 15 seconds, believe it or not.
I'll tell you what,
it's not a book.
The fastest person I've ever seen, or the person I've known that's ever read the fastest for me personally, is a kid I went to school with. His name was Andy Wells. This kid, Steve, he read the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. He read that book in a day and a half when we were in 6th grade. In a day and a half. And even he couldn't read 80 pages in an hour.
Yeah, and go through it all and do all that. Like, believe it or
not.
But
I guarantee he could have read that and been done in 2 days between reading it and verifying everything. And he couldn't have done 80 pages in a day.
It actually takes time, people. So, and that gets us to another good, which falls kind of, another idiotic thing, because you mentioned it a few seconds, minutes ago. But at this point, about, the border and all that, and the people, like, okay, as you said, I saw it. I didn't look at the numbers yet because they keep changing. And, but the truck, which I'm amazed how that even got through. By the way, who was picking on Greg Abbott for stopping them after the border and making them, and having state of Texas and all them actually, go through the trucks again? As look, there's trucks with 60 plus people in the back of a semi-trailer. 51 are dead, 12 to 13 hospitalized, 3 have been arrested for. Why? Because stupid stuff like that is happening, even with people going through the stuff. It shows they really aren't going through the stuff, because how the hell do you miss that?
Well, I like to call, in regards to the border, in regards to them getting across that border, I want to know, I would like for them to release the information on the exact agent working that gate. Because if I was working those gates and I seen any semi that had a reefer trailer pull up there and it wasn't running, whether it was empty or not, I'd question it. Because you're not going to empty a load out of it and then turn it off and go pick up another load in the heat. It'll heat up before you get to the other spot to pick up another load. And guess what you're going to do then? You're going to take the chance of destroying food, and then you got problems because you have to make an insurance claim. It just becomes a headache. Well, people aren't going to do that. So if a reefer trailer comes up there and you don't question the fact that it's not running, I question that agent.
By the way, when he says reefer, he means refrigerator. Refrigeration, not a weed, not a
Oh,
truck.
sorry. I'm
Not a
sorry. I was
truck
thinking
full of,
mechanical side of that. I'm
not a
sorry.
truck full of weed. He's not a reefer truck.
Not
Yeah.
that.
He's referencing a refrigeration truck where
Yes.
they keep cold food.
But when
and
they
other
pull up there,
products.
you know, if he just delivered a load across the border and he's coming back and he's not running, why wouldn't you question it? I want that agent to come out and publicly answer that question. Why would you not question a trailer that has the refrigeration unit on it and it's not running? That I would question. If the truck's running and they're hauling it, the reefer should be running.
Yeah. Again, these things happen more than anyone thinks. This is just the one that actually at least caught someone's eye when it happened. And it's the same thing as, again, the guys in California with 150,000, whatever it was, 150,000, 160,000 fentanyl pills that were released on their own cognizance, ROR, just a few days after, even though they could have killed 12 million people. Like I got.
In quick life lesson on those refrigeration units inside them trailers, if somebody was to ever get trapped in one, all you have to do is go to either corner, any corner, and bust that apart. And I guarantee you that will get you access to at least some fresh air. Guaranteed. Because those units aren't designed completely filled up on the inside.
Yeah.
Just food, putting it out there for future reference.
Yeah, and that's a border. That is very true. And again, only 3 arrested for that. The 150,000 fentanyl guys, like, released ROR a few days later. ROR. That's a massive, beyond intent to sell and distribute 150,000 pills. And they're released a few days later, like nothing happened.
Well, not just that. It was $500 bail. I'm pretty confident it was $500 for each. And that's messed up because between them two and the other guy, they had enough fentanyl to kill 12 million people. But they're all 3 out of jail now.
What do you think they're going to do? We all know
they're going to get more. They're getting it at such a discounted rate that they don't care.
And they just let them go. It's just like, I saw that. I was like, excuse me. Oh, and I got ran over. I got ran over. What? My bail was just a little under theirs, and I didn't have the possibility of killing 12 million people. I just wanted to see what the psychotic pre-workout, how if it was going to give me the good, full body tingle when it kicks in, so I know it's time to work out. That's all I wanted to know. No, I get arrested because that exploded and field tested as meth. These guys, and look at all the problems I've had. 2 years of problems over something that's.
Well, look what happened to me in 2012.
These guys are.
I hit somebody in self-defense and went to jail for 4 days.
Well, I'm sure.
I know, but still, I'm saying 4 days.
You hitting someone.
These guys could have killed 12. I mean, I could have killed probably a few people, but that's the point. These guys could kill 12, between the 3 of them, they could kill 12 million people. And I went to jail longer than them.
Hey, if they really cared about, everything like they say, stuff like that wouldn't have happened. But they actually don't give a damn about anything they say. And again, it's just one of those things I'm sure a lot of people didn't even hear about. So, hello, hi, we're here. I read this stuff. That's a border problem. And again, the numbers for May, let's see, unique individuals encountered nationwide was up 15% from April. Total encounters was up 2% from April at 239,416. That's just the ones they're catching. Imagine how many are getting by when there's almost 10,000 people a day.
While you're on that number, I just want to point something out, and it'll make more sense in a minute. That's 119% increase over April.
No, it's just
according to the calculator, because I wanted to bring it up because it's completely opposite of that in the actual numbers.
And I'm going straight from the Customs and Border Patrol website.
And I took that right from the Border Patrol's paperwork. I got my calculator out. I went, that can't be right. Let me do it again. Nope, that is definitely right.
That's up about. That's not over 100, but your math might be skewed. That means the number over doubled, and no way in hell did it over double.
I know.
It's up a couple percentage points. Up at 69% of all border encounters were single adults, according to the border, down 2%. Yay. But here's the good one, unaccompanied minors. Land border encounters was up 21%, because how do you think they get the adults over? Go on, kid. But then everyone gets to come over. It creates an even bigger problem, because they're not just going to turn the kid around and send them back, which causes more things. That's just the way it works. If you don't like it, sorry, but they've been playing this game for years, which is how it works. Just like those kids that got dropped over the fence last year, and guess what? Their families came. Yeah, that's why they're sending them, because they can get in that way much easier than And anyway, before I get on, and family units were up 8% from April, but still down, by the way, from the record numbers of August of last year. But they're well on their way, as this is normally when everything starts firing off. June, July, August, with numbers skyrocket.
19%. I misread that.
Yeah.
My first one was not for that. That was my one for topics. Sorry,
but
I misread that. It was a 19% increase over last month.
But that was up. Drugs, again, cocaine was down 22%, methamphetamine was down 23%, heroin was down 29%, and fentanyl was down 12%. But I have a hard time believing that when some Yahoo just got caught with Yahoo's 160,000 pills, 150, 160, whatever the hell it was, of fentanyl. But
I just want to point out that,
and how many pounds that guy got caught on his body. Like, just because that number is down, according to, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I want to point that out. That was what I was talking about just a second ago.
They're just stretched for people, and more.
Exactly. How can you have more people in April? More drugs in April with less people than there was in May. I want somebody to explain to me, because you're telling me that in April we only had, what was that? 201,800. Okay. But we had numbers that just don't add up, because if you look at the next month, you go to the numbers, they went down for the drugs, but yet the number of people went up. I'm sorry. If that's the case, you're proving the point for a border wall and deportation. Sorry.
And I'm just saying, remember how everyone was freaking out on Governor Abbott for getting through the gate, and then they would check for themselves, and the backup it was causing. Well, but if they were redoing it with 2 sets of eyes, that refrigeration truck wouldn't have got through with all that in it. A lot less.
Still bad for North Carolina.
A lot less drugs would be getting in if they actually had people really truly looking at everything. Because if fentanyl was down that much, how the hell did 160,000 pills, which weighs a ton, by the way, how did that just get missed? Because we're back to lax, and again, there's over 200,000 people. How are they going to catch everybody? They're not. It's impossible, especially in a lot of areas where they're not even checking anything. There's no one that could do anything to stop anyone in certain areas. But
Tom Holman, he said flat out that on average 1 to 3. So he said if we caught 239,000 people, take that times it by 3, and that's how many got away.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's insane.
People keep saying it's not, that there is.
And then I feel bad for North Carolina, because they're going to be feeling the effects here very soon of what Michigan's going through and a few other states are going through. They're going to use that school down there in North Carolina to house migrant children. Well, they did the same thing with that boys' home up here, the children's home up here for the troubled kids. They're going to house them there too. And they've been housing the kids since March of last year. They've been housing kids up here since March of last year. And who's paying for all that? Us, the people who care.
Federal Reserve. Our debt is paying for that. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
And dear people that are all proud of yours, here we go. Just a quick lesson before we get to the big important thing of this whole conversation. Let's do some basic, I don't know. Let's do, what do you want to call it? Mathematics, some civics stuff, like
economics.
Basic, stuff like that. But everyone's saying that he's doing a killer job because he lowered the deficit. Guess what? he might have lowered the deficit as to how much into debt we went. It was a little smaller, but we still went over $1 trillion extra on top of our debt last year. So the deficit went down a little, but our debt still skyrocketed. The deficit is just where we are per year for how much we spend over. And if we're going off of 2020, look how much money we had coming in and look how much money we were fucking hemorrhaging. Of course, the deficit's going to go down after we gave out trillions of dollars in damn COVID relief to everyone under the sun, to include other countries for gender studies and stuff. It was pretty easy for him to lower the deficit.
You and I just had a talk yesterday about gas.
I'm just saying, it was
how much I
easier.
paid. Literally 18. If you go 18 months, look how much I paid. And look how much it is.
I'm just saying, like, it's easy to lower the deficit when the year before that we spent trillions all over the world extra on top of everything we were already in debt for. So it's easier to make the number we spent over how much money we had, like, in the budget. It's easy to make that go down when we're not spending COVID relief bills every 3 seconds and paying for all, like, it's easier because there's actually money coming in then, because, we did all those, we're stopping taxes on this, that, and the other thing during that. So again, less money coming, it's much easier to lower the deficit then, but the debt still exploded. So yeah, congratulations. They lowered the deficit. Didn't take much coming off of that. Just like the jobs numbers. Wasn't that hard and everyone switched back on. He didn't create anything because we're still not back to where we were pre-COVID. Ominous dominus. That's the way it is. And that was another public service announcement brought to you in part by Wednesdays with Walter and me, because I'm grumpy because people are stupid. Like, that's basic, just common sense math, basic skills. Doesn't take much. I don't ask for much. Holy balls. But to get to the last point of it all, which circles back to everything, again, no matter what we talked about, except for, and the Supreme Court, like, their decisions, especially on Roe sending it back to the state, when everyone's freaking out saying like they need to just pack the court and get rid of the filibuster so they could just, like, that's not going to solve anything. Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was extremely liberal, said that would be a terrible idea. Joe Biden used to say it all the time until he was president. There's this really cool thing when they send it back to the states, as you say, as everyone, I was literally like getting yelled at because we can't do anything. When do you like elect Supreme Court justices? Let me know when that is, dickhead.
Yeah, just on a side
like,
note about her, she even said that constitutionally, this is one of the shakiest bills or shakiest decisions there was. Like, if she's saying that,
it was sketchy. It was sketchy at best. And she said that about, she said that about a lot of things. But pretty goddamn sidetracked me again. We already went 34 minutes before we even got to anything because you started rambling.
Sorry.
And it's all gone. See, but they're saying we don't have anything to do with that. The Supreme Court justices, dickhead, and they started to call me worse things and explode. I'm like, they sent it back to the states. So if you really have that big of a problem, then again, they're not banning it. The Supreme Court didn't do anything. The states are. And if you want to make sure that everything that happened, that some things in the state that happen when it comes to stuff like the decision for Roe and abortion rights and all that, pay attention to local and state elections. They're the ones that will come up with the bills and everything. If you don't like the thing, to actually make things happen in the state. If you don't like it, pay attention to those and elect those people, because if it's sent back to the states make the decisions. The governor can still veto, but they can still, they're the ones that pass the stuff. So you really have a problem with it, all you idiots that say we don't vote for the Supreme Court and all that, dickhead. Like, and again, much worse things like state and local elections, like they're the ones that, the state that passed the laws, which will have to do with things like abortion rights and stuff. Like, so you actually can have some impact on it if you actually pay attention to your state and local elections and not just who's running for president and your head exploding, orange man bad, and anyone. Like, pay attention to them. Look into everything that the people running say and do and what they have done. Follow their track record. Do all those things so you make the best educated decision you can with your views. And then that, my friends, is how you can make a difference on that, regardless of what the Supreme Court says when they send it back to the states. That is how you have something to do with the states.
I never thought I'd do this, but I'm going to quote an Alan Jackson song.
I'll never do that.
He went to the gentleman who is his congressman to complain about the summertime blues, and his congressman told him, well, you're too young to vote, so when you're old enough, vote. That's how we'll change it. Even Alan Jackson got it
just
30
like
years ago.
like and again, like it's the same way. It still comes down to it as to like making amendments, like to the Constitution. Like work with people that actually like they can make amendments to the Constitution about things like this to make it a right. You can pass amendments instead of just freaking out and going full Looney Tunes because that's what they tell you to do. Actually pay attention, state and local things, pay attention to the federal elections, talk to them, work with them, try to figure out ways where you could pass an amendment to actually make it a right. Then if you want it to be,
Your congressman.
there is a process. You can do it. Mention it, blow their phone up and email until they answer you. Blow them all. I say, and remember people, I said, blow up their emails and their phones till they answer you. I did not mean actually physically blow them up.
We
Before
don't
anyone gets that
stupidity at any building.
Before I don't
To
mean
include
that
the VA, even as much as we can, we don't condone violence.
You can blow up those people's emails accounts and their mailboxes with letters and phone calls and everything. What if you really want to? Those are the people that actually make amendments that can make it an actual right.
Exactly. They've all said this. It's going back to the states, so government, like legit operating government, can make that process happen. You get to choose. But if people aren't actively involved with their local environments, they can't change anything, truthfully.
Yeah.
Like, that could sound very wrong, but
you got to start local and state, and then again, get that going, like, and elect the right people. Talk to you can send letters, emails, phone calls to all your state legislatures, no matter where your capital is, no matter what they're doing in the state house and the state senate. You could like call, email, fax, call, like you could do all kinds of things to get in touch with them to change, to have something to do with decisions that they're making and how they affect your life. It's very easy if you people just use your brain and actually did it,
and most of them
instead of just reacting. Instead of just reacting in anger.
Exactly. You can go there, you can get their phone on the internet anymore. Yeah. Their phone number, you can get their
email
address, their fax number, their physical address for their office.
Yeah.
You can, with those 4 things alone, you can literally annoy the person to the point where they're like, okay, let's address this for a minute, because if I don't, it's never going to stop.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go to their house, not to be anything stupid, you don't have to be violent.
Just you can be physically involved. You can look them up, and guess what? All their contact information for their office and all that will be there. That's how you do it. Don't go and say what they banned it. They banned it. Like the Supreme Court didn't do anything. They sent it back to the states. If you don't like your state's decision, get out there and actually give a damn and be part of your state and localities people, because that's how those things will actually change. And contact senators, to actually, I don't know, pass an amendment to make it a right, because it wasn't a right, which is why they sent it back to the states, because it's not it. You can make amendments. Like that's how you change things, people. Not by violence, not by your heads exploding, not by acting like jackasses. Guess what? What did burning down all those cities do in 2020? Not a damn thing.
Only thing it did was cost $21 billion.
All it did was make things worse, especially in those places that were already complaining that things sucked. You went and burnt everything down, which makes it harder to find work and do things because there's less stuff there. And guess what? All you have to do is actually give a damn and do the actual proper process. And you can
how long does it take for Milwaukee to come back from that shit?
You can actually make things change and better if you do it intelligently to get bills and stuff passed. Because violence and all that just costs money and human life and gets nothing accomplished if you haven't ever noticed.
And so I'm saying, it's everything's so expensive right now. It's going to take them forever to recoup, because I mean, think about it, Steve. We've talked about you and me personally have talked about me buying closet doors before, or not closet door, but interior doors for my house. You used to be able to get those interior doors for 120, 150 bucks. I had to pay $324 a piece for those doors.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to build mine.
But I'm just saying, I can't build them because I don't want to buy the machines to do that. I don't want to buy a router and stuff. But my whole thing is to buy a door now. It's increased a couple times over. And it's like, how will Milwaukee? How will
St. Louis,
Santa Monica? How's Santa Monica going to recruit from some of the stuff they went through? It's going to take years for them even, and they got money over there.
Minneapolis, Seattle. And look at that whole
Portland.
area. Portland, look where Chop and Chaz were and all that. Like, look how bad. Like, guess
Dude,
what?
Portland is so screwed up right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna take
Forever.
not decades, generations to fix
Yeah.
that.
And people don't see it. They just keep blaming on everything else. But again, don't react like idiots. If you react like actual adults, you can actually make change. Like real
Sad part
legit
is-
change. The only thing you accomplished was getting billions pulled from cities' police funding that have now turned around and asked for it all back from the state because crime has exploded just like we all said was going to happen.
And
that
that is-
accomplished nothing. That just hurt you.
That's a locality.
That hurt, and that hurt y'all with your crime numbers and response times. That hurt y'all. It didn't actually change anything. It made things worse
Exactly.
because you didn't react with your brains. You just went and freaked out. Think things through. Get involved. Thank you. Protesting it,
right there.
threatening people's lives. Like I still love. Pretty sure was it Whoopi Goldberg told Clarence Thomas, don't be surprised if they come for you. Like, thanks, Whoopi. Well, that's not inciting stupid to happen. Violence will get you nowhere. In fact, it'll actually make things that actually makes things 1,000 times worse.
I have her telling somebody to go stab or shoot him. She literally is inciting violence against the Supreme Court justice. And she gets away with it.
And by the way, people, if you actually read the decision, hell, read the leaked decision for all you people, or read the leaked one. It leaked. It's smaller. Your brains can hold on to it.
You can read any version of it as long as it's the full version.
Look in there, and even in the leaked one, for all you people going off saying he's coming after gay marriage and interracial marriage and all that stuff next, you guys do realize, all of you idiots, how long he's been married to a white woman, right?
Yeah.
You're saying he's going to go after.
He's going to go after that.
Say he's going to go after and make it a federal crime to be married to his own wife. And you people just listen to it and repeat.
And then I like how they said that he's going to attack those rights in the whole the same-sex marriage, all those different things. And it's like he said, those have nothing to do with this decision.
All the people.
They're a case-by-case situation dependent on that.
And they also said that had nothing to do with the whole Roe v. Wade thing, so it should not have been in the original decision to pass Roe v. Wade in the first place, because what the hell does that have to do with abortion rights? Nothing. Which is why it shouldn't have passed, because there was nothing actual based on anything to read the decisions. They actually break it down case by case. This is why we did this, because of this.
And I think
it gives you the case numbers, it gives you everything, so you can look it up your damn self.
And I think something else, I don't remember who I heard say this, but a statement has been said recently that, people are out there threatening, like Clarence Thomas, threatening him. What good is that going to do? What good is threatening somebody like that going to solve other than creating more angst and hate in our country?
Nothing.
It doesn't make sense.
Again, it comes back to the newsroom. What?
Even though he said it has nothing to do with that. We push that stuff and we cause.
And idiots eat it up and repeat online. I'm sort of going, God, I like you as a wrestler. I like it.
But that's inciting.
But you're so stupid. And you obviously haven't read 1 ounce of what they actually said in the thing. You're just spewing stupid, and then all your people believe stupid, and then it just makes everything more stupid. You know what? So when
if anybody wants an example, I'll give you one. T.I. Love the guy's music, but he needs to shut his mouth when he ain't rapping.
You know what? I'm just gonna end my side of it. Yeah. Beautiful quote. So when you ask me why America is the greatest country on earth, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. As everyone just
exactly.
And then there's the person in the crowd. Yeah. But we could be great again. And I just got to chill. You see, I said it. Boom, chill. But we could. We stop being such cunts. That Jeff Daniels didn't say that in the thing. The first part of that was his quote. The rest of it, well, that's just pure me. But I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because we have fallen so far.
And there's nobody to this point that can justify.
This was over a decade. This was over a decade ago. It just kept getting worse. Be educated. Don't be violent.
Almost a decade ago.
It doesn't accomplish anything. Violence gets us, unless you're in a boxing match or in a UFC fight or at literal war. Violence and threatening justices' lives isn't going to do anything. It's just going to make everything 1,000 times worse. If you haven't noticed for, I don't know, the last very long, hell, just since 2020, the summer, what the hell did that accomplish besides making everything's worse? So why are we going to continue to make things worse? And
They
how
all
long is it
talk
going to
about
take people to wake up to make things better instead of just like I could read their comments and go, yep, their head's exploding in 3, 2. There it is.
Really make a case for mental health complications. The ones that say there isn't a mental health problem, it's not a people problem, those are the ones that have the mental health issues, truthfully. I might be hostile and angry, but you know what? At least I'm fair and down the middle.
1-860-261-0729 from Bristol, Connecticut. Well, unless ESPN is calling me to throw a hissy fit over something I've said, which I'm pretty sure they're not, I don't need to talk to anyone in Bristol, Connecticut. Never know. It could have been them calling me to freak out. I'm sure they would have gave me an email first, though.
Oh, yeah. Email would have came first.
You know what?
Or a letter from a lawyer.
That cease and
One
desist.
way or the other, it'd have been one of them two.
Cease and desist, mother. Okay, well, I'm not going to do that. So, but yeah, like just use your brains, people. Read the things, pay attention to state and local stuff. Call your congressmen and senators. That's how change actually makes. Violence just makes you look stupid.
Vote.
And vote. And it makes things, violence just makes things worse and makes you look like a jackass. The end. That's the bookmark right there. Stamp it. Boom. Don't be stupid, people. Don't
day.
Just,
go collect $200. Have a good weekend.
Stop being ignorant, just sheeple. The ignorant masses hurt my head. If you actually read things and be educated, thank you, Don Fry again. Education, yeah. What?
He wasn't
knowledge
wrong.
Is power. Know everything. Why? And if they don't agree with you when you're telling them right, what? Come get me. Why? I'll let them know that they're wrong for you. If they don't want to listen to you, amen. Hallelujah. I'll go down there and bite their head off. Why? Because no one was going to do anything to Don Fry and Tank Battalion. Don Fry was Tank Battalion.
I had a conversation at the Legion about Don Fry.
But yeah, it was good. Thank you, everyone. Again, yeah, Apple, Google, Spotify, yeah, just a few people on Spotify. That doesn't seem to reach anybody. And well, again, I don't get it, but I mean, I don't have Spotify. The only reason I have a Spotify so I could share the link out from Spotify. But apparently they get no love. But Castbox, Amazon Music, Audible, Good Pods. We appreciate you there, Estelena. Thank you for another rating of an episode, whichever one. I don't remember which one it was, but thank you, and everyone else on there. Thank you. I could see your pictures. I know what your profile picture is. I know it. I just can't remember names.
Can't remember your name.
I'm not good at that. But I can remember a face, a name. That one's hard to remember.
Well, there's one guy I know. He's on there almost every post, and to that guy, I can't remember your name, but like Steve said, I remember your picture, and kudos to you.
Appreciate it. Keep getting it out there. And again, even if you're listening to it, you go on YouTube and Rumble and Cloud Hub. Subscribe to them all. It takes a few damn seconds. Rate the shows, the whole show as a whole. You can do that on Apple Podcast as well and Spotify. But and hit subscribe, hit like on it, write a comment, which then helps
it does make a difference.
Shoots it farther up the list if people look for stuff where I'm just going to pop up so they can hear this. Like that little bit helps. And follow the Facebook page and then Twitter on Jay Rosinski Show. Because I share everything all over the place, video wise and audio wise. So there's a lot of chances. Everyone on MeWe, I don't know if anyone's listening, but I post everything on there. And I do have a locals account, where I try to post stuff on there too. If people just start following me, but that's much, it's a newer thing. I'm still trying to figure it out. So I don't blame you if you are too, but thank you. Hopefully you learned something. I mean, it's all garbage numbers, but it's basic, like just, if you don't like it, read it to make sure that it actually, you don't like it for the reasons you think you don't like it. And local and all that, because you're just sound like a jackwagon. Otherwise, jackwagon because I don't hear the word jackwagon enough. Jackwagon.
A lot of times you'll find that if you read it, whatever they're saying, it's usually the opposite of what they're saying that they're actually doing. Just food for thought.
Normally it's way off, but knowledge is power. You're welcome, Don Fry. I'm not tagging him in it no matter what you say. Not happening.
You're gonna make me have to start a Facebook page again just so he can hear.
Hey, he's my friend, but guarantee he ain't listening to what's coming out of my mouth. But enjoy it. I'll be back Friday to read some other bill. I'm sure there's something else that came out that pissed someone off. So I'm going through to find the ones that aren't 800 pages long.
Oh, and I'm
then
sure
I can
they'll
actually
pick
go
up
over them.
stupid incident at the border
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I can actually go over the ones that aren't 8 million pages long and read them. So you actually know, but I'll be back Friday. He'll be back, Friday with the Racing with Jesse Rosinski again. Lots of stuff across a lot of different sanctioning bodies of racing from around the planet. So if you're into racing, check that one out. I'll be on Justin's Wrestling Roulette on the Wrestling Ski page tonight, so he could blow my mind with whatever random stuff he comes, because I just tell him, don't tell me what we're talking about, and just catch me off guard, which is super fun. And he'll be back on Wednesday again, so we can talk about the even more stupid, because a week in America and the world, lots of stupid, lots.
Yeah.
So check out everything, follow along on everything. I appreciate y'all. And until next time, my friends, peace.
Peace.